be the toughest part, and it can throw a crew off their vibe there after having a real good warm up, done a few practice starts, and then there's a bit of hassle at the start getting on the stake boats, and that can really throw things off. Now, by the looks of it, everyone has come forward to row, and they are away. So we are away for the last race of the first morning finals, the men's junior 16 eights, and showing straight off the bat is that St. Joseph's A crew out on the left hand side as you watch it here with Enniskillen. So those two boats now seem to have a very slight lead over Closh there in the centre lane, where beside them Castle Connell, slightly off the pace St. Joseph's B, and still up there is Cork out in lane 1. That's on the right hand side of your screen. Ella, this one is fantastic. These three big boats now on the left hand side seem to be doing all the running.
Yes, I see this as a preview of what we might be talking about in 2 years' time for the Junior 18-8s, and potentially a preview into what we could be talking about tomorrow for the 2025 Junior 8s. But let's keep our attention fixed firmly on the Junior 16-8s, the final race 221 on your programme. All the action seeming to be on the left-hand side of your screen. I'm looking at St. Joseph's A in lane 5. I'm looking at Enniskillen in lane 6 and Closh in lane 4. Closh slowly starting to drift back, slightly going level with Cork Boat Club for the 3rd and 4th place, and slightly further back is St. Joseph's B and Castle Connell. St. Joseph's and Enniskillen, a powerhouse in junior men's and women's sweep rowing. All too often we're commentating on the Junior 8s here at the Irish Rowing Championships, and the main names we're talking about is St. Joseph's for the men and the women, St. Joseph's for the men and Enniskillen for both the men and the women. And look at strong display of rowing from this young St. Joseph's crew. Again, we mentioned the Coxes a couple of moments ago. Now this would have been noisy coming off the stake boats. You have 6 Coxes, you have whatever 8 times 6 is. I'm not going to do the maths here while I'm trying to talk, but you have a lot of boats, you have a lot of oars, you have a lot of people, and you have a lot of Coxes as well, of course, as our different launches and umpires out on the water. But look at this, St. Joseph's A stretching out to, I'm going to say a third of a length's lead over the crew in the outside lane of Enniskillen. That's your 1 and 2. Then I'm looking at Closh sitting pretty comfortably in 3rd, Cork Boat Club looking like 5th, and St. Joseph's being Castle Connell there slightly further back for the minor placings. Have St. Joseph shaken off Enniskillen? By absolutely no means. Enniskillen are well and truly alive and kicking, and St. Joseph's are desperately taking this race by the scruff of the neck.
Yeah, Closh it's still not out of it on that on the centre lane there, lane number 4, but those 3 boats are really starting to distance the field. Cork still on the right hand side trying to put a bit of a push in, but there's clear water now between themselves and Closh in the centre of the screen. But St. Joseph's now starting to pull half a length out of Enniskillen at this stage. Now we're maybe about 1,000 metres in at this stage, but half a length, it's nothing with a big finish, because Enniskillen are known for their clean blade work and their big finishes, as we've seen earlier this morning. But St. Joseph's really great start on that, and they've held that lead. Now they haven't broken Enniskillen yet. They haven't even broken Closh. Cork in 4th place have slipped back slightly, and then it's further back to St. Joseph's B and Castle Connell, who are in a battle there for the minor places. Closh may be slipping out of this, but the real battle there on the left hand side of the screen, you can see on the far left Enniskillen about half a length down on St. Joseph's. So both of those crews moving really well. Slightly bigger poles maybe coming from the St. Joseph's boat, but Enniskillen very tidy. Rate still roughly the same, I would say. There's only maybe at most 1 pip between them, but St. Joseph's probably have half a length now. They've squeezed a little bit more out of Enniskillen. Ella, where do you see these 2 boats dominating the field?
Yeah, look at St. Joseph's. I've no doubt they will have paced their Junior 18-8 up and down the carb countless times. Same for Enniskillen, their Junior 18-8 out at Henley last week. I'm sure this Junior 16-8 was used for some very fast racing up and down the waters up in Fermanagh. But St. Joseph's, I'm going to put them up at nearly 3/4 of a length at this stage in the race, Alan. Look at Enniskillen, they're still there. They're still well in contact. The bow person in the Enniskillen boat, which is James McCallum, he's still in contact with the St. Joseph's crew. He's there, he can feel them, he can see their puddles, he can hear them. But the guy up on the stern of that Enniskillen crew, Evan Clark and Josh Allen, they're your stern pair. They're going to be slightly further out of contact, but they're making a move. St. Joseph still leading this one. The Cox of the St. Joseph's crew, Paddy Heffernan, he's well aware of the Enniskillen crew to his right. He's edging his crew on. You can see, look at these 2 yellow end packers. You have Enniskillen at the bottom of your screen, and Colosh is just sitting next to them in lane 5, the St. Joseph's crew. of Alexander Ponish and Luka Skabalak sitting in stern pair. They're setting up a very, very strong rhythm. What do Enniskillen have to say about this, Alan?
Ella, there's 500 metres left, and I would say Enniskillen have come right back into this. I thought I would have given St. Joseph's a little bit more, but earlier on, and I think Enniskillen now a big push can see a couple of seats swallowed up very quickly, and these would have, with 500 metres left now, probably 450 to go. I think someone is going to have a big finish here, and Enniskillen are down for that big finish now. Can they close that gap? I'd say that gap is less than approaching half a length. Difficult to say at this stage, but Enniskillen now with a big finish. It's going to be St. Joseph's. Can St. Joseph's hold on? They've done all the running and they've held this lead all the way down this race, all the way down this course. This Junior 16 men's eights will go right to the line, but that's still half a length. St. Joseph's really pushing, being pushed under pressure by Enniskillen, and I'd say they're inching away bit by bit. Enniskillen are closing.
Enniskillen seriously have something to say about what St. Joseph's have done. St. Joseph's have done the main running and racing for the first 1,900 metres of this race. All you have to be is ahead at 2,000 metres, and Enniskillen are pushing this right down to the line. They're bunching up. I'm giving St. Joseph's I'm still going to give them half a length over Enniskillen, but Enniskillen are moving, let me tell you. Do St. Joseph's, can they hold on? Have Enniskillen timed this to perfection? The crowd going absolutely mad behind me. I think Enniskillen might just run out of water as they draw closer and closer to the finish. St. Joseph's A at the top of your screen, Enniskillen at the bottom. Have Enniskillen timed it to perfection? I'm going to give St. Joseph's about a quarter of a length over Enniskillen. Enniskillen are charging. Can St. Joseph's hold on? The Coxes no doubt screaming at their crews, getting every last inch out of them as they draw closer and closer to the line here at the National Rowing Centre. St. Joseph's A, that's the splashing that you want to see when you've crossed the line in first. The glory of your crew. St. Joseph's taking the win in the men's Junior 16-8. A quick run through the crew that we just saw race. In the Cox's seat, Paddy Heffernan. In the bow, we have Daniel Poshnan. 2, Cormac Hogan. In the 3 seat, Jack Cassidy. 4 seat, Jack Boyle. 5 seat, Dara Fuller. 6 seat, Ryan Agnew. 7 seat, Luka Sablik. And in the stroke seat, Alexander Poshkin. Alan, what a race at Junior 16.
Incredible athletes, and every one of them to a man is absolutely wrecked. And Enniskillen with some great early season. St. Joseph's coming back in a Cork Regatta for the win, and we saw the 2 best Junior 16s out there in the country, and they were knocking lumps out of each other. The Enniskillen crew closed, must have been at least 3/4 of a length to, I would say, the verdict on the line could be a canvas, but they just ran out of water. Huge finish from Enniskillen, but the boys